Boys, Bumps, and Blood. A Minnesota Childhood, 1937 to 1952. Written by Paul C. Slayback. Narrated by eaudioproductions.com. Chapter 1. The Terrible Twos. A 2-year-old causes mischief, crawling upstairs, lurching around the room, opening drawers and making a delightful nuisance. For me, the Terrible Twos were different. The Terrible Twos weren't amusing. The Terrible Twos weren't cute. The Terrible Twos were terrible. Late in the evening of November 28th, 1939, my father and mother traveled along Highway 61 in my dad's old Ford flatbed truck. They'd found a good deal on a mattress that was strapped to the back of the flatbed. They bought candy and small gifts for each kid, and my mother teased my father for picking out and munching on the soft candies. They had stopped in Two Harbors, where they'd been to the minister's house to pick up my baptism certificate. Near Gull Rock, my father spied a truck coming in the opposite direction, probably loaded with fish, weaving across the center line. "What the hell?" he cried out. In the next moment, the truck veered into my father's lane. My father swerved to avoid a collision. The right front tire struck a boulder. The truck rolled over on the passenger side. The door sprung open, throwing my mother out, crushing her underneath. My dad yelled, "Maggie! Maggie! My love!" He pulled her out, blood flowing from her mouth, and laid her on the mattress my parents had just bought. She opened her eyes once, blinked a few times, breathed heavily for 10 minutes, and then died. Things moved slowly in Silver Bay in 1939. A passerby saw the accident and drove on to Silver Bay to tell the police. No ambulance was called. It took more than 30 minutes for the sheriff to arrive. The sheriff arranged for my mother to be taken to a funeral home in Two Harbors. My sisters cried so much every time they saw that blood-stained mattress. My dad finally burned it. Years later, my sister Dorothy told me that the night after the accident, I got out of my bed, stumbled on wobbly legs over to my sleeping dad and asked, "Where's Mama?" Waking him up, he yelled to one of my sisters, "Lorna, take care of him." My dad couldn't stand hearing my voice call out, "Where's Mama?" So he instructed all my sisters to distract me by singing to me or playing games with me. As the months passed, her voice, touch, smell, and image in my mind grew fainter and fainter, until I couldn't remember her at all. Looking at old photographs of my mother, our resemblance is striking. I've always felt cheated that I never had a chance to know my mother. She's buried in Two Harbors, Minnesota. The Burning. In February 1940, on a cold morning about 3 months after my mother was killed, I raced around our house. I dove through the curtain hung at the doorway to keep the heat in the room, and ran into my father, coming from the opposite direction. A kettle of boiling water for his shaving was in his hands. The kettle flew in the air, the top popped off, and scalding water poured down, seared my right arm from shoulder to wrist. Distraught, my father rushed me to a local doctor in Two Harbors. I screamed all the way. My dad bought me some candy, lots of candy, and that night, large pinkish bubbles rose from my arm. There wasn't much the doctor could do for burns in those days. I had to tough it out. Constant pain kept me awake all night, a deep, raw sensation, like someone with a knife had stripped off a piece of my arm. Today, a 5-inch scar remains, a reminder of that searing pain and the soothing songs my sisters sang to me. My sisters were helpful, but not like a mother. The Big Bad Rooster. On every farm, a rooster is an impressive creature. The largest chicken in the flock, he takes his job seriously, fertilizing the hens
Sample complete. Ready to continue?